Hello, my friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Novella. Today is Wednesday, and normally I do a midweek check-in. But first, I want to react to a discussion that is taking place on Booktok and Booktube about booktalkers being real and having an effect on young people who are reading. Well, I don't care. I mean, if the kids are reading only Colin Hoover or only Sarah J. Maas or Brandon Sanderson or Stephen King or whatever, or the Song of Achilles, does it matter? No, it doesn't. Because people like Stephen King and Colin Hoover make a lot of money for the publishing houses. And those publishing houses have more budget to sponsor young writers. That's one thing. So we can enjoy those. I don't care if a booktuber, I don't follow booktube, so if a booktuber reads their books or not, I don't care. If they bring me to attention one book that I really want to read, I am happy. I don't care if they've read it or not. I don't care if they have thousands and thousands of books behind them and they haven't read a thing. I don't care. I don't care. I love to see books. I love to hear about books. I love to discuss books. And it doesn't matter if they have 10 million followers or one follower. If they bring me books that I really enjoy, kudos to them. And if a young kid, a kid of, let's say, 13, 14, starts with reading Colin Hoover, and then as they grow older, they discover that there's a whole other world of books. There's the classics and Russians and the Iliads of this world. Well, isn't that wonderful? Isn't that absolutely wonderful? So who are we to judge? We aren't. We can only be happy that they make a lot of money for the publishing houses and that they give other young creatives time and money because they have money for us to enjoy. Hey, it's that simple. Anyway, I have read a couple of genius books. This one is That Is Gone Ear Hunting. And somebody contacted me to read this book, and I can't remember who. I'm sorry, please make yourself known, because I can't find it anymore. But this is That Is Gone Ear Hunting by Penelope Mortimer. This is an edition by a new publishing house. It's called McNally, I believe. McNally Editions. This is the story about a woman who's married, has a daughter who is in her teens, and first we meet the woman in her, learn how she is in her ordinary life. So she apparently lives in somewhere in the countryside, like the Cotswolds or something like that in England. Her husband is during the week in London to work. He's a banker or something. He is quite wealthy, and she has two children, but three children. She has two boys that are in boarding school, and there's the daughter is studying in Oxford, or just it's her first year, and she has a maid, and that's about it. And she's a bit bored with her life. She doesn't like her life. Everything is done for her. She has actually, in a way, lost a bit the reason of her being there. She feels useless. And at a certain point, her daughter comes home and they discover she's pregnant. And there starts the real story. And then we also understand why The mother is also so frustrated with her life. This is a book that is written in the 50s, and it takes place in the 50s. I can imagine that this book was revolutionary because it talks about the options a young woman, a young unmarried woman has when she's pregnant. And adoption comes to mind, marrying comes to mind, abortion comes to mind, and then we learn more also about the mother. So it's a wonderfully written and very contemporary feeling novel. I highly recommend it. It is really, really well done, really well written. I had never heard of Penelope Mortimer, but this one, Daddy's Gone A-Hunting, is absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. A 5-star read for me. Then I read the third in my Februante challenge. I read the third of the Neapolitan novels. It's really weird because this one is, I have the feeling that it's written by 2 different people, which could be the case even. So Elena Ferrante is not a real person. We already know that. Some people have followed the money, and it is most likely a couple, a man, woman. The woman is a translator, a literary translator, and the man is an author. And I have the feeling that, the first half of this book, talks about Lila and Elena in their early 20s, and the first half didn't work for me at all. I was like, this is so different. And then suddenly the point of view changes. So in the first 2 books, or first 2.5 books, it's always Elena who talks. And now it's Lila, as from midway point. And then it's again very fluent, very well written. But the first part I didn't like at all. So it's a 4-star read for me, just because of the first half I didn't like at all. It was, clunky, it didn't gel, it didn't work for me at all. Then I read Silence by Shusako Endo, and this tells the story, it's a rather short but very dense book about a priest who is sent to Japan in the 17th century. So there were a couple of monks there already trying to establish Catholicism in Japan, but at a certain point the emperor decided that all Catholicism had to be banned, and there was a real witch hunt. The priests were buried alive, and the monks, and there was a lot of money put on their heads, and people weren't allowed to follow the religion anymore. So this priest was sent to Japan to try to reestablish the Christian faith. And it talks about how he travels to Japan and how he reconnects with followers, and but it isn't without any danger, because for each priest they pay 3,000 silver coins, I believe, or 300 silver coins, and for each follower 100 silver coins. So a lot of people were very, very, very poor, and the money would help them survive. So it was a very risky undertaking. It was funny because a friend of mine said, "You have to read this book." And when I read it, I was reading it in English, and I was like, "That's really weird, I know this story." And then I realized that I read it like somewhere in the early 90s. So I knew the story. But anyway, I finished it, I loved it, 5-star read for me, it's excellent. And that brings me to Shogun. So Micah Cummins and Stephen Donahue have a read-along of Shogun. If you already have read Shogun or you don't want to engage in such a long book, because it's about a little short of 1,000 pages, there are 2 books that I highly recommend. One is Silence by Shusako Endo, and David Mitchell's 1,000 Autumns of Jacob de Zoet. I have the Dutch version, but it is brilliant. And it talks about the same time period, more or less, 17th century Japan, first encounters with European and Japanese people. And yeah, they are all 3 brilliant books. Shogun is also very brilliant. I highly recommend. Then I also read this one in French, but it's out. I will put up a link. This one by Jacqueline Harpman, Moi qui n'ai pas connu des hommes, I who have never known men. It is a brilliant book. I will do a deep dive on Friday. Also 5-star read. I was blown away. So yeah, that's it. I'm currently reading this one, not translated. It's about Erasmus. He was a Dutch scholar in the 16th, 17th century. He was, he taught here at the Leuven University, amongst other universities, and he was really well known for his praise of folly. This is a really, 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 really well-written biography, and it has won a lot of awards, but it hasn't been translated yet. So yeah, that's about it. That was my this part of the reading week. Of course, I'm still reading the book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa, with Classics&Company and with Jack from Rambling Raconteur and Micah from Micah Comments. So we are reading the book of Disquiet by Fernando Pessoa. You can still join. We have another 5 weeks to go. So 5 weeks to read the book of Disquiet is more than enough, but it's not a book you want to read fast. You want to take your time and let everything soak in, it's you have to be a sponge to read this one, but it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope to see you Friday for the deep dive, and that will be probably Jacqueline Harpman, I who have never known man. It's amazing that I didn't know this author. Nobody has ever heard of her in Belgium. Maybe the French part, but not the Dutch-speaking part. I've never heard talking about her, but it's absolutely brilliant. I was blown away by it. So yeah, talk to you later. Bye-bye.